Welcome to the Fear and Greed Business Interview. I'm Sean Aylmer. This year, we're expecting to see a bit more competition in the lending market. Interest rates are tipped to start coming down eventually, and we've already seen signs that the banks are getting a bit more competitive in attracting and retaining customers. So that might be a home loan, it might be a car loan, it might be a personal loan, all sorts of things. You could go to a broker, go to a bank, or perhaps since it's 2024, you could use AI instead. LoanOptions.AI does exactly that. It's a neobank disruptor that uses artificial intelligence to almost entirely automate the loan application process. It's a fascinating insight into the way AI is changing the way we function. Julian Fayad is the founder and CEO of LoanOptions.AI, which is a great supporter of this podcast. Julian, welcome to Fear and Greed.
Thank you so much for having me, Sean. Really excited to be here.
Now, let's go to the very basics. I used the term neobank earlier on. What is a neobank or a neo-broker?
Yeah, so neobanks, essentially, the term neo is like the next generation of, is essentially what it symbolizes. And so this is the next generation of broking. You know, there was neobanks, and that's kind of where the term became popularized. With the likes of, 86400 coming into the market and, Upbank and some of the others who've had great success, and some that, unfortunately didn't have great success. And, I think that is, I guess, what the term means is that we are looking to I guess, propel the next generation of broking. We're propelling the industry further forward using the latest technology, cutting edge solutions to help clients.
Okay, so that's neobanks, new generation. Take me through how LoanOptions.AI, and that's capital LOAN, capital OPTIONS.AI works. Where does the AI come into it?
Yeah, so essentially the way the technology works is it's looking at a lot of historical customer data, our customer data, and actually providing a probability of approval with specific lenders. So we have more than 75 banks and lenders ranging from tier one major Australian banks right through to sort of non-bank, mid-prime and down to subprime non-conforming lenders for clients with challenged credit histories. But essentially what happens is it's looking at all of their specifics in their application, their credit score, how long they've been in their job, are they full-time or casual, are they self-employed, how old are they? It's looking at their risk profile and all of the data points on their application, and then using the AI technology to match against the most likely to approve lender. The technology has multiple layers. So there's, of course, a credit decisioning engine where we've reverse engineered the lender's credit policies into that. And the AI is another layer that sits on top. So you've got expert credit analysts in the business that are assessing deals the way that a bank would assess a deal, providing their thoughts on and their interpretations of the bank's credit policy. And then over that, we've got the AI, which comes on top.
Okay, so there's a few things to break down in that. How do you get all the data? Obviously, the lenders are prepared to give it to you, or is it through the recent regulatory changes over the past couple of years where you can actually access data easier? What's the deal there?
Yeah, so for the lender credit policy side, that's been through building, long-term sustainable relationships with them. They're not always willing to provide all of their credit policy data. They'll usually provide a credit guide or some kind of guide to their credit policy, which outlines some basics. But we really go into the nitty-gritty. How many bank dishonors are they allowed to have on their bank statement? What percentage of gambling transactions can they have? Like down to the real sort of granular. And that's through long-term sustainable relationships that we're able to do that. But equally, data is becoming more and more accessible through technologies like APIs that the lenders are building. We're able to call directly their credit policy and credit pricing information and bring that back to surface it to our customers.
And I suppose that's the other point which is worthwhile explaining to listeners. Not all banks or not all lenders are the same when it comes to credit.
Yeah, that's a real big one. And that's really how we built our whole business model. When I first started broking about 12 or 13 years ago, you probably could get away with having about 10 lenders or so, and you kind of find the right solution with those 10 lenders. But lending has changed. A lot of regulation has come in, to ever increasing rate environment. So serviceability and other, since COVID, a lot of lenders have changed their credit appetite. So a lot of things have changed in the last sort of 3 or 4 years that has each time it's actually changed the way that people can access money. And it's more often than not actually made it harder for people to access money. So 10 lenders won't cut it anymore. You really need to engage a broker or a service that has a far greater panel of lenders. That way they can actually find the solution and get you the maximum borrowing capacity, or get you that car that you're looking to buy, or refinance a bunch of debt that's causing you some financial strife, whatever the solution needs to be.
Stay with me, Julian. We'll be back in a moment. I'm speaking to Julian Fayad, founder and CEO of LoanOptions.AI. Okay, so given the background that you have it there with some pretty cool model cars, I presume you do car loans?
Yeah, absolutely. Car loans is kind of how we started. That was the bread and butter, and we slowly over time expanded to become experts in other areas. I'm a car enthusiast by nature and by design. We've got a lot of racing paraphernalia in our office, if you will. We've got a racing simulator and all sorts of racing inspired artwork and bits and pieces. But one thing that is in our DNA is speed. Loan Options AI was designed to make the application process really, really fast for customers. And in the most recent version, the LO 3.0 version that we've just deployed before Christmas, we decreased the time it takes for a client to apply from circa 10 minutes to nearly in half. So we reduced it by 50% to 5 minutes for an end-to-end application with all the technologies that we've built.
Wow. So really dumb it down for someone like me. So I want to get a loan for a car. Maybe I want to consolidate debt. I've got a bunch of credit cards, that type of thing. I can apply online, presumably.
Yeah.
And you have access to a lot of my data. So if I give you my bank account or whatever the information is you need, you can access my banking track record, my credit record, etc., and turns it around using technology to kind of say, well, if you want to go and consolidate your debt, this is some places you should go.
Yeah, so here's how it works. We built a piece of technology called an autocomplete engine. And so what it does is, first we get the customer's consent. They tell us first up what type of loan they want, how much they're looking to borrow, and over what period. And of course, they can go back and amend any of that if the repayments aren't what they want. So they do that. The next thing they do is consent to the process. They provide their name, email address, and phone number, tick the consent button. That enables us to handle their personal information securely and safely. They upload a copy of their driver's license. Instead of having to type out all of that information, like the driver's license number, the expiry date, all that kind of stuff, the OCR technology, or optical character recognition technology that we built, reads the data from the license and pre-fills their application with all of that information. They can then double check it and make sure that it is accurate. Maybe they've moved address or they need to put the new address on there. Then they move through the stage two. Stage two is where they connect their bank account. So that's using a secure service from Ilion, which is one of Australia's biggest data bureaus. And once they've connected that, that'll actually pre-fill all of their income and expenses without somebody sitting there reading line by line, what they had for breakfast 3 months ago, or, getting into the personal nitty-gritty of their transactions. And then what happens is it does a soft check on their credit file. So it doesn't put any footprint on their credit file. It doesn't impact their credit score, which is really, really important. Many other brokers and services actually do that, and it actually harms their credit score. And it takes all the information from the credit file and pre-fills the data once again. As the client moves through the process, the more information they provide, the lending results are showing in real time and updating in real time. So if they answer a question and it actually improves their rate, then they'll see those rate improvements. If they answer a question and it knocks out one of the lenders because they're no longer eligible for that product, they'll actually see that in real time as all animated and interactive.
What about home loans? So I know you do a lot of loans. Is home loans kind of the next big goal?
Well, we actually partner with more than 300 or 400 of Australia's best mortgage brokers. And the way that we build our technology is so that it can be white labeled and embedded on many other partner sites, including those mortgage brokers. The reason we did that is we wanted to make our technology accessible for as many Australians and now as many Kiwis as possible. And so our strategy at the moment is to make sure that we're providing great service to the mortgage brokers. Any clients that come to us seeking home loans, we connect them with the experts. We're the experts in all the other types of loans: cars, marine, motorbikes, caravans, personal loans like unsecured for travel or home renovations, and also business loans. So that could be a line of credit for your business or a cash flow top up, whatever it might be. we are absolutely specialists in those areas, and we will build technology to match the clients with the right home loan. But more so than that, we're just connecting clients at the moment with the right mortgage broker that's going to help them with their solution on a slightly more complex transaction like a home.
Where do we end up with all this, Julian? I would imagine that this is the beginning of your journey at LoanOptions.AI. Like, where do we end up?
Yeah. So we're now just a bit over 3 years in, and the original vision was to make autonomous loans possible. So enable a customer to go from apply online right through to getting the money in their account in near real time. But not the way a bank would do it. A bank only has one product. We're offering the client the best solution out of 75 banks and lenders. So that's obviously exponentially harder to do. So the goal was to make applying for a loan as easy as checking out in an e-commerce store. And I guess the part there is we needed to make sure that we were working towards that goal of making these loans autonomous. Or the best analogy I can use is, you've got like Tesla's self-driving functionality in the car. You still need, for regulatory purposes and for safety purposes, you still need somebody sitting in the driver's seat supervising and monitoring. It'd be the same thing here. We'll have an experienced broker that's, watching the loan get processed and making sure that there aren't any anomalies and picking up any edge cases. But for the most part, we want to get to that point where clients can get access to money and get access to really good information and comparisons, but also access to money really fast. So our fastest so far, our record to date, which is lightning fast, is first inquiry. So somebody's gone online, says, I want a personal loan, to money in their account in 36 minutes end to end. So somebody has decided they want a personal loan, 36 minutes later, still while they're on their lunch break, they've got the money in their account. So we want to try and make sure that's more repeatable and more scalable.
Fantastic. Julian, thank you for talking to Fear and Greed.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
That was Julian Fayed, founder and CEO of LoanOptions.AI, LoanOptions.AI, a supporter of this podcast. This is the Fear and Greed business interview. Remember, this is general information only, and you should always seek professional advice before making investment decisions. Join us every morning for the full episode of Fear and Greed, Australia's best business podcast. I'm Sean Aylmer. Enjoy your day.